Kurzgesagt, and this is worms, nuts, killer shrimps, allergies explained. This was on Kurzgesagt in a nutshell. Yes, another immune system series, I'm guessing. Last one was fever one, which I loved because it was like one of the most important video you can make. Fever is that important. I guess he's going to talk about allergies here. Now, I don't know much about allergies, but the basic stuff, right? Histamine and things like that. A lot of medicines have like antihistamines to it, even the cold medicine and things. But besides that, I don't know like more detailed stuff about it. I don't know what worms have to do with this. But it's going to be interesting. It's a Kurzgesagt video. It's about immune system. So let's watch it.
If you're a fan of our work, you probably value rigor and humility in research and are willing to change your mind based on new information. You might also appreciate the same principles applied to important questions like, how can my donation make the biggest impact? GiveWell, this video's sponsor, does precisely that. They publish all of their footnoted research, along with their past mistakes, for free. More details, including how to get your donation matched, at the end of this video. An allergy is like finding a spider in your bedroom and exploding a nuclear bomb. Sure, spiders are upsetting and now dead, but so are all of your neighbors and your dog. You can be allergic to an...
I don't know why for me it's cockroach, no spider. I don't know why. Is it like something I saw as a kid or something? But I just hate cockroach. It's not like I'm afraid of him. I'm like grossed out by it, right? It's like, just like the way they walk and everything. Probably anything that looks like cockroach. On the spiders, I don't care much.
Incredibly diverse and weird amount of stuff. Pollen, dust, insect stings, animal hair, any kind of food, latex, and even your own sweat. One of the wildest things about allergies is how fast they are, breaking out suddenly and violently. And you can develop new allergies. One moment you're enjoying a shellfish you ate thousands of times.
Yeah. There are some people who are like that kind of violent allergies, right? Like eats a peanut and just like by the minute, like the throat and everything starts to swell up, the face starts to swell up, they have to go to run to ER or something. Like I'm guessing like there are different layers to allergies because there are like smaller allergies where you get sneezes or something. You don't even realize you have allergies or something, right? And there's that level of allergies.
Before, and the next moment you wake up in an ambulance. A shrimp can kill you. How bizarre. But like, what are allergies? Why do our bodies flip the table on harmless stuff? There's a wild and interesting idea we want to share with you. Humans might have created allergies by accident by getting rid of worms. This is very upsetting and interesting. For your ancestors, being infected by worms was a reality of life. We won't get into the disgusting details, but in a world where drinking water and our poo were close buddies, some species of worms found just the perfect site.
Yeah, I mean, that's just, right, that video about Jon Snow and like cholera outbreak. Not that was the first time, but it was like when the people start to gather into cities more, like condensed space, is when like this poo/water thing became much more intense, right? Where like things like cholera popped up. But yeah, like before people didn't give too much thought about it, right? Nowadays just we live in a leisure world compared to back then. Back then people were just trying to survive, right? Shit like that happened a lot. But nowadays, like if even like a whiff of information leaks, somehow sewer water is getting mixed into like drinking water. That's it. People lose their shit. Back then, nobody cared.
Cycle of life. They enter your bodies with the water and make themselves at home, sometimes for decades, and then release their eggs or larvae with your poo, which used to go back to the water.
Decades.
So, until recently, in evolutionary terms, our ancestors had to deal with frequent or permanent worm infections. This caused all kinds of unpleasant health effects.
Decades? You kidding me, right? So a worm can live inside your body that long? I mean, like, who's that, like, RFK Jr., right now? He's talking about there's a worm in his brain or something, like, obviously, for obvious reasons, can't remove it because process of removing it would be more damaging than it would solve or something, right? Like, no, wait a minute, it's a dead worm, if I remember correctly. Yeah, because I made that video about like all these different parasites and things and worms that we humans basically killed. A lot of it, right? So nowadays, like we don't have like that kind of like intuitive thinking about fear of worms that way. But I don't know, man. Back then, like all the worms and things, I could like. I saw the video where like Kurzgesagt showed like how there could be like big ass snake type worm can shoot out of your feet or something if it becomes bad. Just thinking about it make me like really creep up. Like nowadays we're afraid of germs and virus. That kind of okay. Not that parasites are completely like ready. That's not the case. Like there are many places that big. Even the fish thing, right? But some people eat fish and they get like ringworm or something. I don't need fish or like anything like non-vegetarian like that. So like, but yeah, there is like a real fear of that. So, but yeah, like living in a time where like parasites are a real thing is just fucked up.
Our immune systems had to find weapons to get rid of them. But how do you do that? From the perspective of a cell, worms are city-scale kaijus, reaching beyond the horizon. Worse, instead of skin, parasitic worms have an elastic protective layer that withstands even stomach acid. You really need to pack some punch to cause damage. It takes an army to kill a worm. We're simplifying, but basically when a worm enters your body for the first time, intelligence cells notice their presence. They move to your lymph nodes and activate specialized antibody factories called B cells. We explain them in detail in this video. These B cells are told that they need to fight parasites and start producing a special class of weapons, IgE antibodies. Tiny protein crabs with two pinchers that connect to worms like magnets to metal. IgE floods your entire body and basically begin arming a nuclear bomb, an army of really scary cells called mast cells. Mast cells are huge, bloated fellows filled to the brink with histamine and other nasty chemicals. They pick up the IgE floating around and cover themselves with them like angry hedgehog grenades without their safety pins. And then they just lie and wait, angrily. So now you have millions of bombs in your skin, lungs or gut, until the day the mast cells meet a worm trying to enter your body. There's not much time to get rid of it, so things escalate rapidly. The mast cells with their IgE spikes grab onto the worm particles and kind of explode. They release all of their dangerous chemicals all at once. A few things now happen in rapid succession. First, some of the
Yeah, I think even psychologically you can trigger these histamines and things, which is like, I guess it makes sense, but still fucking weird, right? A lot of people said it's like hives and things because of psychological issues. They're also given antihistamines to basically stop this. So I'm guessing the same process basically just triggers thinking whatever, like is a parasite there or whatever. I don't know. That's like, like even our psychology, like psychological issues can trigger this kind of like symptoms. That's insane.
Mast cell chemicals wound the worms, ripping wounds into them and making them really unhappy. Then emergency chemicals like histamine cause massive and rapid inflammation, ordering your blood vessels to flood the battlefield with water to flush the worms out. They also order your cells that make mucus to go into overdrive and cover the worms in sticky slime. Other chemicals are like air raid sirens, screaming loudly throughout your body for anti-parasite soldiers, eosinophils. First thousands, then hundreds of thousands hear the alarm and leave your blood vessels to where the mast cells are causing inflammation. Not only do they make...
Basically, you can hear the Lord of the Rings, like scene where every army gathers. There's like a horn playing in the background. There you go.
The inflammation worse, they carry extremely toxic chemicals that they vomit at the worm, ripping open its defensive layers and causing horrible injuries. Sometimes this will straight up kill the parasite. Lastly, the anti-worm coordination cell arrives, the basophil. It makes sure that the immune system doesn't slow down, but keeps attacking with violence. It keeps the inflammation going and alerts more and more attack
Playing the metal song in the background, like there is no chill. Let's just amplify everything.
cells to the site of battle. Zooming out, we see that the chemicals from your anti-parasite forces make your smooth muscles contract rapidly, pushing everything that's inside outside. In your intestines, combined with all the water, you notice this.
Yeah, I think this is why you are given, if you're like food poisoning or something or anything basically stomach related, they give you diclomine. I think that's the like other pill, other medicines like that, which basically like works as like like muscle relaxant for your stomach because of this function. Otherwise, it's just control. This is why your stomach hurts. Your stomach doesn't hurt because things are happening inside. Like you don't really feel that much. You might just get sicker and sicker over time, but you won't get hurt like that. Only reason you get hurt is because your muscles are contracting that way, trying to push out things that are inside. But obviously, like if you get diagnosed, like okay, the pushing out is not going to work. That's not how things. So we need to give you antibiotics and things like that. That's why doctor basically gives you like, okay, this system is like working right now, but it's not going to help. So have like muscle relaxant that way.
This is diarrhea, as your body tries to expel the stressed parasite. In your respiratory tract, loads of mucus and water flood outside, trying to take the worm with them. If this happens under your skin,
Does that happen? Like, did that used to happen back then? A worm comes out of your nose? What the fuck?
tissue is red, hot and itchy as your immune system is trying to commit murder. It takes a fierce army to kill a worm, and your anti-parasite forces have the license to act rapidly and with intense violence. Okay, this is nice and all, but what does all this have to do with killer shrimps? What is an allergy? Parasitic worms don't love being ripped apart by millions of bombs. And as all living things do, they adapted to the deadly attacks on them. In a nutshell, worms...
Don't make it cute. It's a parasite. I get it's trying to live just like anything else. I don't care. It's a parasite, right? Like if there's one thing you can like shun is at least you can do that of a parasite. Come on. It's like people's life used to be really fucked up because there were parasites inside, literally eating them.
Release a plethora of chemicals to manipulate your immune system. They make it weaker and much less angry, like immune system weed, which is pretty bad for your survival because you have to fight off all sorts of intruders every day. Our ancestors were basically unable to prevent regular worm infections. So as the worms adapted to us, our bodies had to adapt to them. To balance out any weakening worm chemicals, one adaptation might have been to make our immune system more aggressive so it could still defend against other invaders. And then a hot second ago, in evolutionary terms, everything changed. We suddenly invented soap and hygiene, but most importantly, the separation of poop and drinking water. This destroyed the life cycles of parasitic worms, and the ones that remained were eradicated by modern medicine. Worms still infect up to 2 billion people, mostly in underdeveloped rural regions or slums with
What the fuck? 2 billion out of 8 billion? That's a big ass number. What? That's 25%. I thought it would be like something in millions or something like, okay. So 2 billion people. I guess like countries like India and like other countries around India. Basically where the majority of that real life lore video, right? Like it's like a circle where most people live. So Indonesia, like India, like Pakistan, like places like this probably warped that number bigger. Like I guess like it makes sense. If only India has 1.4 billion people and then like you add up Pakistan, Indonesia and all that, I guess yeah, like 2 billion would kind of make sense in like rural places and things like that. I don't know.
Sanitary conditions and dirty water. The people who escaped these conditions now face an interesting problem. An immune system without a major enemy that had kept it down for millions of years. It could very well be that our immune system still operates assuming that worms are making it weaker, and that it has to be overly aggressive because of that. And
so basically American military doesn't really have any opposition because yeah, there is no opposition, especially when American military flexes the way it tries, there's no oppositions, but they still have to act like, oh, there's a threat there because of obvious reason. Can't just cool down, because what if another country gets suddenly power up? You can't just build up again, right? Have to keep the industrial complex going, so there you go.
While IgE, mast cells, basophils and eosinophils also have other jobs, a major reason for their existence has now gone away. But they kind of act as if worms are around, only that they now attack other dangerous foes like shrimps. This is exactly what happens when you have an allergic reaction to a shrimp. Your immune system picks up shrimp proteins and produces IgE antibodies against shrimps. The antibodies then arm mast cells, turning them into bombs. So you have...
Okay, I don't get it. Shrimp looks like a worm. Is that why? Then why does allergy happens with the nuts? I'm guessing it's the protein, like you said. They basically see the protein as like, oh, this must be this type of way.
Millions of bombs in your skin, your lungs or your gut with a license to choose violence even when provoked a little bit.
That would make sense because system actually identifying some like a proper creature like a worm or a shrimp or a nut would be like too complicated. So it's the certain type of proteins that it can like detect. Oh, this must be a problem.
Until one day you eat another shrimp. Your anti-parasite forces flip on like a switch. only there is no kaiju to attack. This is what you experience when you have an allergic reaction. Extremely powerful weapons now target your own body. Under your skin, your blood vessels suddenly turn leaky. Fluid streams into your tissue, your skin swells up and turns red, often in itchy hives. You immediately feel hot and unwell. In your digestive system, the mast cells can cause nausea, cramps and sharp pain as water floods into your intestines and triggers intense diarrhea and vomiting. Your respiratory tract swells up, making breathing hard. Way more dangerously, histamine and other chemicals can cause the smooth muscles in your lungs to tense up. In the best case...
Yeah, again, like I said, antihistamines in a lot of medicines. You can literally get anti-allergy pills and whatever, like medicine. What is it called? I forgot the name. Cetirizine, levocetirizine, things like that, which are basically like is antihistamines. Cold medicines, basically, that you like usually when doctor gives you, right? Like when you have like sniffles and things like that. Phenylephrine and like other one. One of them always are like antihistamines, so it's implied that your histamine system is gonna like overload, right? Even like sometimes like dust and certain type of like things can just give you like this kind of like, you know, sneezing and things like that, which is basically allergic reaction but smaller one. Yeah, so there's usually like, you know, sprays that you do to your nose also has antihistamine, I'm pretty sure.
Case, you get a stuffy nose. In the worst case, you're suddenly fighting for your life. Mast cells all over your body unload their bombs all at once, causing an anaphylactic shock. Your blood loses so much water that your blood pressure drops to dangerous levels. This alone is life-threatening. In combination with the things going on in your lungs, anaphylaxis is a life or death emergency, often with just a small time window to do anything about it. Allergic reactions...
I think it's already life-threatening when it's like your throat and everything swells up. You can't breathe. I'm pretty sure that's one of the elements, right? Whenever you're like that kind of intense allergic reaction, it's just like everything starts to swell up. Tongue start to swell up. Tongue itself can like close the fucking mouth. Then like throat and everything. You're already gonna like suffocate, right? This is very fucked up because if you don't know your allergy and suddenly you come across allergy, you're alone. Man, that's like a game over basically. Like if you can like you know, like scream for help, right? Maybe somebody who, even if they hear you, is like probably already late. Like the timing is insane.
Truly are no joke. Even the deadliest diseases like Ebola need days to kill you, but your immune system can kill you within a few minutes. And this is why a shrimp can kill you, because on a fundamental level, an ingenious defense system, vital for our species' survival for millions of years, is fighting imaginary kaijus. Yet we still don't know why some people produce a lot of IgE antibodies against certain substances and others don't.
Probably genetics, right? Depending on like who the ancestor were, like how much they were exposed to certain type of like worms and things. So they just develop more of it that could have been just passed down.
We don't know why some adults develop new allergies later in life or why some allergies disappear over time. And we're not sure if the lack of worms is the main culprit, only that the cells that evolve to fight them are responsible for the symptoms of allergies. There are other ideas, like less diverse microbes.
I mean, even if there were worms, like in order to fight worms, they would still trigger the same thing. So you would still have all those issues, right? So lack of worms didn't really like, it's like... lack of worms didn't really cause. It's like saying like okay, America has no opposition and like that's why America's $700 billion like military, but they don't have no one to fight. But if they did have someone to fight, they would have like even higher budget and higher costs. So if they were like worms, they would still have to do all these things. They would still have to go through processes, but maybe more so, right? So evolution, it will take time before bodies will like get adjusted to this, and this becomes less and less. But yeah.
Biomes or increased pollution. Maybe it's just a combination of all of them. But what we clearly see is that allergies and their more serious cousin autoimmune diseases have been rising massively in the last 100 years.
Wait, what the fuck? Autoimmune diseases are their cousin? Do you? I don't think he made a video about that. He needs to make a video about that. Because like if you like heart here like deadlier human things that you have to worry about, cancer is there. But at least cancer has something like chemotherapy or something. Autoimmune diseases, Parkinson's, this and that. Holy shit, right? That's one of the most terrifying things. Just like sneak up on you, like we can do nothing. That's what doctor's gonna tell you. But it's related to this. He really needs to make a video about that.
Wherever humans moved into more sanitary conditions and got rid of some of the horrible parasites hunting us. Hopefully, we'll figure it out and prevent allergies forever, because one thing's for sure, we don't want to get worms back. That would really be like finding a spider and exploding a nuclear bomb. GiveWell wants as many donors as possible to...
Yeah, well, go to original video page link from there, support this channel, go to givewell.org/Kurzgesagt and support this channel. Really interesting video. I mean, I knew about antihistamines and histamines, like how like that is the part of it, but I didn't know about this much detail. Like worms are the reason we have this process. Interesting. But then, like he said, like 2 billion people are still struggling with it. So I guess like we didn't really like completely remove worms or something, like, parasites like that, because like 25% of the population, it's not a small number. The day it becomes in millions, maybe our bodies will eventually start to like tune up to it or something. But I don't know. But yeah, autoimmune thing, like I don't know, like he really needs to make a video about that. Or did I miss it? I don't know, man. But yeah, that's just terrifying as fuck. When you realize like how many things are like terrifying things that will go undetected until it's too late for humans, you'll be terrified constantly. That's like insane thing to think about. But yeah, there you go. Allergies. Like I said, like a lot of medicines have antihistamine in them. I don't know if that's good or not, right? These are like prescription age drugs or something. I don't know, like there's some kind of like label there, but I don't know if that's good or not. But yeah, a lot of medicines basically have antihistamine, things like that. But yeah, alright, well, if you like my next one, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.